Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swing Good Torah. Okay, we got Pesach, we got Passover coming up. We got this crazy conflict between Iran and Israel and Iran and America. And what is going on? So I found something really interesting. I think this is a way to really put everything in context. And I think gives us a real clear understanding of what's happening right now. Let me bring this up. So this is from Sefer Daniel. This is from the book of Daniel. I believe it is the second parak, the second chapter. Here it looks like it's verse pasuk 31. So we're going to go through this real quick. So it says, Ant malka chaze havasa ve'alu tsalem chaz sagit sama dekain rav vezive yatir kaim lekablach v'revach dechil. So if your Aramaic's not that good, we're gonna translate it. But Nebuchadnezzar, the first king of Babylon, he was given a vision. And then Hashem gave the same vision, the same dream to Daniel. So he's saying, so Daniel's interpreting the dream. He says, King, O king, as you looked on, there appeared a giant statue. There was the Salem, there was the Chad, there was one giant statue. And this statue was huge, and its brightness was surpassing, and it stood before you, and its appearance was awesome. It says, Vahut Salma Resha did Dahav Tav. So the head of the statue was made of this fine gold, very expensive gold. Chadochi uzaraohi di chesaf, and its breast, its chest, and its arms were made of silver. Maohi v'yorchase di nechash, and its stomach and the thighs were of bronze, of copper. And says shikohi di farzel raglohi. And it's the legs of the statue are made of iron. So minahain di farzel uminahain di chasaf. Now the toes, the feet of the statue, part of it was made of iron and part of it was made of clay. And it says chaze chavasa ad di his gezeres evem di la v'dayin umechat litzama al raglochi di farzela v'chaspa v'hadekes himon. And as you looked on, a stone was hewn out, but not by hands, and it struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay, and it crushed them. So badayin daku chechada farzela chaspa nechasha kaspa v'dahava v'havu keor min idre kayit. And it's saying all at once, the iron and the clay and the bronze, the silver and the gold, they were crushed. And here and they became like chaff of the threshing floor of the summer, and the wind carried them off until there's no trace of them left. But the stone that struck the statue became a great mountain, and it filled the whole earth. Okay, so what does this mean? So very confused. Okay, so Nebuchadnezzar, Hashem showed Nebuchadnezzar a statue, and this was a vision of all world history. So the golden head was going to be the head of what's called the four empires, and the golden head was the Babylonian Empire, and it had a great shine, and it just dominated the world. And then after it, the two arms is because you had two countries come together. So you had Persia and Media, so Paras and Madai, and now it's the Persian Empire, the Persian Median Empire, and then you had two nations, so it split into the two arms. And then the beauty, which is interesting, the Empire of Beauty is Greece, and that's the stomach. It's kind of interesting because if like you see like, oh, when someone has physical beauty, if they have that six pack, they have the six pack, you have beauty, physical beauty. And Greece had physical beauty for the world, the beautiful architecture and the stories and the poetry. And then the legs of iron are the Roman Empire. So there's two legs. So you have the Western Roman Empire in Rome, and then eventually the Eastern Roman Empire in Constantinople, founded by Emperor Constantine. And then, so where are we? So we're in the end. We're at the final days in the feet and the crumbling feet. And some of the feet are of iron, and these are like the Western power. So you probably the Western power, the Western Roman power now is probably the USA, America, and the Eastern power, Rome, is probably Russia. And then you have the other. So you have the other powers. You probably have nations like England, France, Germany, Italy, all the powers of Europe. And then the Ibn Ezra says that the crumbling feet of clay, the crumbling toes of clay, are going to be the the Arab powers. So you have Saudi Arabia, you have Persia now, the new Persia. Iran is it's one of the Arab powers because they have the religion of Ishmael. They have the Islamic religion. And then you could look at other places. You could look at Lebanon, the power of Hezbollah, Egypt, Jordan, the other powers of Arabia, but it's all crumbling. And then there's a stone that's carved out, but not by hands, meaning like Hashem creates a stone, and this represents the Jewish people, and this is the Jewish people being led by Moshiach, but it's flying through the air. It's flying through the air, and then it hits the very bottom of the statue, meaning it hits the end, the final form of the Roman Empire in the modern powers, and then it all crumbles, and then a mighty mountain comes up, and that's going to be the empire of Mashiach, the empire of the King Messiah. And it's going to be an empire of peace that spreads throughout the whole world. And it's not going to be about domination or conquest. This is going to be about spreading wisdom and bringing people the wisdom to see that we're all connected. We're all, created by one infinite being. And it will be the age of peace, the famous, the prophecy of the swords will be built, changed into plowshares. They'll melt it down back into plowshares, and the spears will be into pruning hooks. So it's going to be the age of peace. So what's interesting is I think all the events that we're seeing unfold before us, it's all represented here in this vision. So for instance, things on the surface seem very strange. It seems strange how America is financing Iran when everyone's supposed to be enemies, and like how the Biden administration is giving over $100 billion to them. And even stranger, what's coming out over this latest attack, it seems like the Biden administration negotiated with Iran of what their attack would be, and then negotiated with Israel what their counterattack would be. And it seems so strange on the surface, but if we look in terms of the vision, it's because they're all connected. They're all connected because you have they're all the toes, in this mighty statue, this mighty the final empire, and it's probably what's called this New World Order. But they're all connected. Now, what's happening is the rock. So the Jewish people, what I think is happening is all these events that are happening, the rising anti-Semitism, is Hashem's carving out the rock. He's carving out the Jewish people, so we'll be ready for Mashiach. And what we have to do is the statue, all four empires, they're standing on the ground, so they're firmly rooted in all the physical desires. But to fly through the air, it's like the Jewish people, we have to like disconnect ourselves from the physical temptations of the world and start connecting more to Ruchni. It's the spiritual things, to the Torah and the mitzvos. And this whole process, this constant ongoing process, get us to do the Shuvah, and Hashem's like molding us into this rock. And then it's going to begin the age, the Motz Mashiach, the days of Messiah. And I think that's where we're at. We have Passover. So Passover is the holiday where it's like we break the Meitzar, we break all the constraints. Egypt's called Mitzrayim. It's like the land of the constraints. And there's a special spiritual energy in Passover. You can start breaking us free of these constraints. And the matzah helps us break free of the physical desires. We clean out the chametz from our house. We clean out the Yetzer Hara, the evil impulse, from ourselves. And I don't know how long the whole process is going to be. It seems like the footsteps of Mashiach are getting louder and louder. But it's this process of Hashem carving out the Jewish people to be this rock of ruchnius, of spirituality, that can replace like the four empires, just rooted into the physical desires, and the mighty mountain, and that will be Jerusalem. That will be where the third base of Mikdash is built, the third temple, and we can finally see an age of peace, and it will be the next part of history past the four empires. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.